Hey there, and welcome. Today we're diving into a really fascinating idea that helps us get to the bottom of one of life's biggest questions. What makes you, you? We're going to explore a theory that looks way beyond the simple answers and shows how we're all shaped by this incredible ecology of influences around us.
It's a question we all think about at some point, right? Are you just your DNA? Is it all about your family, your friends, maybe the culture you grew up in? What's the actual recipe that results in, you?
For the longest time, the answer was always framed as this big battle, nature versus nurture. But what if it's not a fight at all? What if it's more like an orchestra, with all the pieces playing together? A psychologist named Urie Bronfenbrenner thought so, and trust me, his answer is a whole lot more interesting.
So, here's the game plan. First, we're going to officially move beyond that old nature versus nurture debate. Then, we'll explore Bronfenbrenner's idea of different worlds. We'll figure out what actually powers our growth, see how all these systems connect, check out how the theory is used in the real world, and finally, take a look at how the idea itself is still evolving.
Okay, first things first. Let's leave nature versus nurture in the rearview mirror. The big idea here is that your development is not some kind of tug-of-war. Nope, it's a non-stop conversation between you and everything around you. It's this dynamic dance that's happening on every level, from your genes all the way up to your society.
Bronfenbrenner called his big idea the bioecological model. But honestly, the best way to picture it is to think of a set of Russian nested dolls. You're at the very center, the smallest doll, and you're surrounded by layer after layer of different environments. And they're all interacting with each other and with you to shape who you become.
All right, so let's crack open those nested dolls, shall we? We're going to unpack each one of these layers that Bronfenbrenner talked about, and we'll start with the one that's closest to home, literally.
So at the very heart of it all, that smallest doll, is the macrosystem. This is your immediate world. It's all the places where you have those direct face-to-face interactions that really define your day-to-day life. Just think about your own world for a second. You've got your family microsystem, maybe a school or work microsystem, your group of friends. That's another microsystem. These are the stages where the drama of your daily life unfolds.
Now, the next layer out is called the mesosystem. And get this, it's not actually a new place. It's all about the connections, the bridges between your different microsystems. It's where your different worlds meet and influence one another.
So, for example, a parent-teacher conference. That's a mesosystem interaction. It's your home world and your school world connecting. Or let's say you have a really bad day with your friends and you bring that cranky mood home with you. That's the mesosystem at work, linking what happens with your peers to your family life.
Okay, moving one more layer out, we get to the exosystem. Now this is interesting. These are environments that you aren't even in, but they still have a major, indirect impact on you.
The classic example is your parents' workplace. You know, a kid doesn't go there, but if their parent has a super stressful day, or worse, gets laid off, you better believe those events ripple right into the home and affect that child. That is the exosystem in action.
And finally, we have the biggest outermost layer, the macrosystem. This is the big picture. It's the cultural blueprint for the society you live in. We're talking the big picture values, laws, and customs that shape your entire world.
This is the whole shebang. The economic system you're part of, the laws in your country, the cultural norms and public policies that basically set the rules of the game. It's kind of like the water we're all swimming in, whether we notice it or not.
Okay, so we've got the stage set with all these nested systems, but what actually makes the play happen? What's the real engine that drives our development inside these systems? This, right here, is one of the most powerful parts of the whole theory.
Bronfenbrenner called this engine proximal processes. Now I know, that sounds a little academic, but the idea is actually really simple and intuitive. It's the regular, meaningful, back-and-forth interactions you have with people and things in your immediate environment. Think about a parent and a kid playing together, a teacher helping a student figure something out, or two friends just talking. Those are the interactions that really fuel our growth.
And they are unbelievably powerful. As the theory puts it, these proximal processes are what allow us to actually realize our genetic potential. It's how our nature gets the chance to shine through nurture.
So now for the really cool part. Let's put this all together and watch how these systems actually talk to each other. We can literally trace how a single event, way out on the edge, can send shock waves all the way down to a single person. This shows the chain reaction just perfectly. So imagine a massive economic crisis hits the country. That's a jolt to the macrosystem.
Because of that, a parent's company has to make cuts. That's the exosystem being affected. That parent, now under a ton of stress, brings it home, changing how they interact with their family. That's the microsystem. And in the end, all of this lands on the child, at the very center. It's just a brilliant way to see how deeply connected everything is.
Okay, this is a fascinating way to look at things, but so what? Why does it matter in the real world? Well, let's take a look at a super practical example, what this means for teachers and for education. What's so game-changing about this model for a teacher is that it helps them see that a kid isn't just a student in a chair. They're the center of a whole complex ecosystem. And by understanding the other parts of that child's world, their family, their friendships, a teacher can start building stronger bridges, those meso-system connections, to create a much more powerful support network for that student.
Now, of course, like any truly great idea in science, Bronfenbrenner's model isn't just frozen in time. It's a living theory that people have talked about, challenged, and built on for years.
For example, one of the main discussions is that the original model really zeroed in on biological and cognitive development, maybe with a little less focus on our social and emotional lives. And that's led to new research and adaptations that are trying to create an even fuller, more complete picture of who we are.
And that brings it all right back to you. When you think about your own story, your own life, which one of these systems do you think had the biggest impact? Was it your immediate family in the microsystem, the link between your home life and school in the mesosystem, or maybe some massive cultural shift in the macrosystem? At the end of the day, this isn't just some abstract theory. It's a powerful new lens for understanding the beautiful, complicated ecology that makes you, you.